studio.
All right. But it's important to know accomplishments like these aren't possible without a dedicated team. So hats off to them and our founder, my dad, Dick Mitchke, for understanding the importance of customer focus.
Facts. There's no 60 years of anything without you, the customer, which is why our focus will remain on you and only you for years to come.
Thank you from all of us here at Richland's Tire and Service Centers.
Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Protect mom's assets, protect your assets. Call Kraus Estate Planning, estateplanningpeople.com.
Time to give these so-called NBA champs a run for their rings.
Here's a three-pointer from Lillard, and he strikes again. His assault continues from three-point range.
The Bucks are in Boston against the Celtics. With our coverage starting tonight at 6, we are your home for the Bucks. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
I'm Greg Natzik. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Monday, October 28th. Your top story, a bevy of campaign stops across Wisconsin.
I'm Jessica Ty. A ruling on a death near the Fox River.
Partly cloudy, breezy today, a high of 66. Isolated showers possible tonight and a low of 58. Windy and warm tomorrow, near record-setting high with 80 degrees on the schedule here. 56 and sunny in Milwaukee. At 11:02 from the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom, Decision, Wisconsin. Another week of campaign stops in Battleground, Wisconsin begins today. Both vice presidential nominees are in the state. Democratic nominee Tim Walz beginning the day in Manitowoc.
We believe in this country, but believe in what we can do. We're going to have to fight for it. And the Vice President of the United States has told us that. When we fight, we win. But this week, we're changing it. When we vote,
Yeah, meanwhile, Governor Walz now on his way to Waukesha. Republican nominee J.D. Vance will hold an event at Wausau's downtown airport this afternoon, then head to Racine Memorial Hall later this evening. And after some flight delays prevented her from making a stop in Green Bay on Friday, Minnesota First Lady Gwen Walz plans to be in La Crosse today. She'll join First Lady Dr. Jill Biden for an Educators for Harris Walz event beginning at 6 o'clock.
Not suspicious. That's the ruling on the death of a man found near the Fox River Sanctuary in Waukesha County. His body was located off a trail on Sunday. Police tell the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel the body was that of a homeless man who had previous health concerns. He was discovered by a friend who often delivered food to him.
1 week after the Holt Avenue Park and Ride shut down on Milwaukee's south side over safety concerns, this morning, 2 additional park and rides close on College Avenue.
The northeast and parts of the southwest College Avenue lots will be cleared out this morning following an uptick in both homeless encampments and police calls to the lots. The Department of Transportation says of the 275 calls for service between July and September of this year, several included assault, theft, shots fired, and drug overdoses. Advocates for the homeless say many now forced out of the lots have nowhere else to go. Milwaukee County says it's working to find shelter for those who are being forced out. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
A portion of the Southwest College lot will remain open for those who use the transit service.
A not-so-neighborly dispute leads to gun violence in the Twin Cities.
A Minneapolis man identified as John Salchak has been arrested and charged with shooting his neighbor over a property dispute involving the trimming of a tree. Salchak holed up in his house for several days. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara.
There was extensive work by our officers to try and make contact, to try and bring this person into custody.
Davis Montori is in stable condition after being shot in the neck. Police say Montori had filed at least 19 complaints to them about his neighbor in recent years. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
Despite the hefty fines and prison sentences handed to people convicted of aiming high-intensity lights at airborne helicopters and planes, pilots are continuing to file reports of laser strikes.
The reports come from pilots of small planes.
Yeah, we're getting a green laser right now.
Commercial jetliners.
We just encountered a laser 3 miles.
Even military aircraft.
Green laser.
Green laser, okay.
The audio from liveatc.net. Houston Sheriff's helicopter pilot David Wren says,
if they're in takeoff, landing, or coming in for an approach, and they have no reference to the ground, they could crash.
So far this year, 9,000 laser strikes have been reported to the FAA. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Good start to the week here. The Dow currently up 218 points at 42,332. NASDAQ up today about 80 points at 18,599. And the S&P up about 20 points today at 5826. For sound financial advice from a fee-only fiduciary, it's Annex Wealth Management. Go to annexwealth.com and click on the Get Started button today.
Jordan Love's status. Stay close. Sports, traffic, and weather next. Sounding Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:06.
Cheese doodles, Mr. Nougat Bar. Oh, here we go. 4-door hatchback.
Some things are fine to buy from a vending machine, but a car's not one of them. That national online company makes it seem convenient, but it won't be so convenient if you have a problem with the vehicle you buy. And if it's after 7 days, good luck. Adam member dealers also let you search online, plus test drive the vehicle before you buy it. And they're right here to handle any issues.
What? The car's stuck. No!
Start your search at adamm.com.
Woo! Hey, this is Ben Brust from Kyle Brust and Ortman on ESPN Wisconsin. People can't stop screaming about the Screamin' Sicilian frozen pizza, and no wonder. There's plenty to scream about, like the buttery stone-fired crust, secret recipe tomato sauce, mounds of whole milk mozzarella, and tons of premium toppings. Find Screamin' Sicilian in your local grocer's freezer and find out for yourself why Sport called Screamin' Sicilian's Holy Pepperoni frozen pizza the best of the best. Screamin' Sicilian, taste what all the screamin' is about.
Any exterior remodeling company can give you a lot of good reasons to get a new roof, siding, windows and doors, or masonry work. Aesthetic appeal alone or just resale value help it all make sense. But I'm compelled to continue to tell you what sets Semper Fi apart from the rest. What you're going to get from Semper Fi is a reputation that is backed by an undeniable stack of proof that we are who we say we are. Our character is guided by a level of trust and accountability which not only holds our teams together, but also keeps our reputation intact. And ultimately, that means leaving you satisfied. So when you're about to make that big investment in your home, isn't that what you want? This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi!
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The NFL Network reporting Packers quarterback Jordan Love avoided a major injury to his groin, but his status for Sunday's game against the Lions is in question. Packers carry a 4-game winning streak into Sunday's game against the first-place Lions at Lambeau after a win in walk-off fashion over the Jaguars on Sunday. And it's night 2 of a back-to-back for the Bucks. They need a win. Milwaukee in Boston against the defending champion Celtics tonight. Bucks have dropped back-to-back games against the Bulls and Nets.
Let's check out those roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time safer traffic. We're doing pretty good for a late Monday morning. A couple of disabled vehicles out on the system, not really causing too many problems though. One is near Pewaukee Lake in between Pewaukee and Delafield. There's a disabled vehicle on the ramp from County SS to I-94 West. Traffic is moving along okay. It's just every once in a while, because of where it is, the cars that are getting onto the highway, they see this disabled vehicle and all the orange construction barrels. So it's kind of like a, whoa, make sure you're paying attention right there. Disabled vehicle on the ramp from County SS to I-94 West. And then if we travel north close to Cedar Lake, there's also a disabled vehicle on the exit to Wisconsin 144 from 41 South. Once again, it's just kind of in a weird spot, so it's taking a couple people off guard, but not causing many problems. Disabled vehicle on the exit to Wisconsin 144 from 41 South.
Partly cloudy today, breezy conditions, and a high of 66. We don't cool off too much tonight. Isolated showers are possible, very mild, with a low of 58 degrees. Tomorrow, perhaps record-setting warmth. Partly cloudy, windy, and warm at a high of 80, 77 near high on Wednesday. It's 58 and partly sunny in Milwaukee at 11:10.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
Well, welcome in. The Monday edition of Wisconsin's Midday News is underway after a beautiful weekend. We packed it in this weekend because kids had trick-or-treating on Saturday.
Packing that candy, too?
Oh, my gosh. Like, it's become insane. We have a handful of full bar candy hander-outers in our subdivision.
That's the best.
It definitely is. And then the full size remains full size. I did notice in our, giant monster value pack thing we got from Costco, the Twixes look a little small. The mini Twixes look
Twix.
A little small. I think there's some shrinkflation going on with the minis.
I thought shrinkflation was reversing. In the last 2 weeks, I thought we got word shrinkflation was reversing.
I think it might be in some respects, but with the mini candy, I don't know. To me, it felt like a little minier. To me, that was just a careless observation, but that was my take. But the full bar candy was full size.
What candy are you going, I'm going to take one of those, kids?
All right, so we have a little bit of a fight over the Airheads.
Oh, really?
We fight over Airheads in our family.
Out of everything.
Everybody wants the white one because it's a mystery flavor and nobody can describe it.
Oh. How many people give out Airheads? That seems
Not
rare.
enough.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Not surprised.
Is my assumption. Okay, but a beautiful weekend. We are back 11:11. Make a wish here in Wisconsin's Midday News.
And now it's time for 3 Big Things on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number 1, 8 days to go until Election Day. Here's where the candidates stand. The latest ABC News poll has Kamala Harris over Donald Trump among likely voters, 51 to 47%. But that's inside the poll's margin of error.
The ABC News Ipsos poll has it as a statistically tied 2-point race among registered voters, with a slight 4-point lead for Harris among likely voters nationally. The survey gives Trump the advantage on the issues most important to voters, the economy and rising prices, while Harris is ahead of Trump on who's most trusted to protect democracy and look out for the middle class. Harris has a 29-point advantage over Trump when it comes to physical health and a 15-point edge on honesty and trustworthiness.
That's ABC's Stephen Portnoy. Vice President Kamala Harris campaigns in Michigan today. Former President Donald Trump campaigns in Georgia. Both of their running mates are here in Wisconsin. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz spoke at an event in Manitowoc just minutes ago. He'll head to Waukesha next. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance has an event in Wausau this afternoon and a campaign event in Racine this evening.
I just got a text from Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
After the one I got from Kamala Harris. After the one I got that just says, Patriot, we need your vote. Anybody else getting all these?
They need your vote and they need your money.
I have not hit stop in my text chain more times than over the course of the weekend. Probably I count 40, 50 times maybe.
And you got a little testy with one of your steps,
Oh,
didn't you?
gosh. Just please, just stop the madness.
You added an adjective.
I did. It's not really shareable on the air here. Well, if you're getting your early vote on today, you might be able to get a quarter pounder afterwards or maybe before. It's back to the hundreds of McDonald's locations where it was pulled last week. And you don't even ask to hold the onions. In some spots, they're doing it for you.
At almost 1,000 McDonald's in at least portions of a dozen states, the quarter pounder will come without the raw onions that help to distinguish that burger from the Big Mac. It's thought that the E. coli outbreak originated at a Taylor Farms onion processing facility in Colorado that supplied those specific locations.
Yeah, it's Jim Ryan. So they dialed it in here. It's not the beef, it's the onions, hence the return of the now onionless quarter pounders in hundreds of McDonald's locations. The stats, 75 people sick in 13 states, 22 hospitalized, 1 person passed away in Colorado. But it seems like they have found the source here, and they're moving forward with the beef, or whatever they call it, at McDonald's with their quarter pounders.
Number 3, a great win for the Green Bay Packers in Jacksonville, but it came at a cost. Quarterback Jordan Love will undergo further testing today to determine the severity of a groin injury he suffered in the first quarter of Sunday's game. Love played through the discomfort until leaving the game for good late in the third quarter.
Obviously, high level of concern anytime a guy is in there, and he did it early in that first drive, and I think everybody could see him struggling to move around, and it got to a point where we didn't feel like, and he didn't feel like he could protect himself.
Yeah, it was hard to watch. It's like, oh gosh.
Yeah, he was gutting it out.
Yeah. The NFL Network is reporting Love avoided a major injury, but his status for this weekend is uncertain. The Packers host the first-place Detroit Lions this Sunday, and then it's a bye week. Well, that'll help for injuries.
Yeah, you wonder if that sort of influences how they handle this week. You got the Lions, that's a first-place team. Winner of the game ends up in first place. Packers have already lost a division game, but you got the bye week, so maybe it's 2+ weeks of rest on that thing. That's a tough one.
That could help. LaFleur is scheduled to meet with the media today at 2:30, so we'll find out more information. We probably won't find out whether Love is playing this weekend, but we will find out more information.
Yeah, definitely. 11:15 on WTMJ. ABC political analyst Steve Roberts joins us coming up on the other side regarding closing arguments. Were they really arguments? Are they really closing? More with that after this.
Career politician Tammy Baldwin wasted trillions of dollars and created crushing inflation. Baldwin opened our borders and gave taxpayer benefits to illegal immigrants. And she voted to put men in girls' sports. Enough is enough. Businessman Eric Hovde will stop inflation, secure the border, and defend our Wisconsin values. Here's Eric Hovde.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys in girls' sports and in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message. Join my team and give today.
Visit WisconsinVictoryJFC.com to give today. Paid for by Wisconsin Victory Committee.
I just got a text from Donald Trump. Did you see me at McDonald's? That was fun. Here are some photos. Oh, great. All right. Hey, is your shower or tub space looking like it could use a little bit of an update? Is it a nightmare situation? Well, WTMJ and Sidex have paired together, giving away a tub or shower conversion. It is your chance to get a full makeover valued at up to $10,000. Here's what you do. Take a picture of that nasty tub or shower, text the word creepy to the WTMJ talk and text line. It's 855-616-1620. Submit that picture. You could win a full conversion from Sidex. It's that simple. For contest rules, check out our website, WTMJ.com.
Quality roofing, siding, and window manufacturers offer extremely solid warranties.
But you have to make sure that the contractor you hire will outlast them and be there to support you. Right, Dad?
Hi, I'm Randy Miller from All Right Home and Remodeling. You can trust that our second generation,
third generation,
fourth generation,
family-owned company will be here for you and your children and their children.
And their children's children.
Learn more at ALLRITE remodeling.com.
Well, less than 10 days to go until the election, in an election that is basically tied, both contenders and candidates engaging in the politics of fear. If you've paid attention to the advertising, maybe the text messages that you've received, it's very clear the direction the candidates are pointing as we welcome in ABC's political analyst Steve Roberts. Morning, Steve.
What both campaigns are trying to do is make sure they get their own supporters out to vote. And the best way to do that is to scare the heck out of them. If you look at the ads that are running, I'm sure, in Wisconsin and other places, what is the tagline from Harris these days? It's Donald Trump is unstable, unhinged, and unchecked. This is aimed very much at Nikki Haley voters. You got to remember, Haley got almost 20% of the vote in Republican primaries, 44.4 million votes. Those voters have already broken the seal. They've already voted once against Trump. They've already signaled that they want somebody else, and so that's where the Harris target-rich environment really is. And Trump is doing something very similar. He's always played the politics of fear. You go back to the announcement for president in 2015. He talked all about the rapists and drug dealers coming in from Mexico, and he's still talking about them and talking about invasions of thugs and criminals that threaten the safety of American families and communities in Wisconsin and everywhere else. So both parties understand how close it is. Both parties understand that the key in the last few days is not to change minds. It's to make sure your own voters get out and vote.
So these are ultimately the closing arguments. Last night, I want to ask about closing arguments for both of them, but let's start with Trump, because last night Trump had this big rally at New York's Madison Square Garden where his campaign, said, hey, yes, this is what's going to happen. He's going to deliver his closing message. But then things kind of went awry went a little different, not exactly according to plan, as we have seen with Trump's rallies. So what is his closing message, and what happened last night?
Well, what you're pointing out is that a couple of the warm-up acts for Donald Trump, including a comedian, made particularly outrageous and racist remarks. One of them called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, when you're trying to win over Hispanic votes, that might not be the best strategy. And everybody thinks Puerto Ricans are all located in New York, but that's not true. There are Puerto Ricans all over the country, including a very important pocket of them in a swing state of Pennsylvania. So Trump has always demonized immigrants. He has done this since the first day he entered politics. Talk about an invasion that threatens the American heartland. This is vintage Trump. But last night, what you saw was some of the warm-up acts going so far over into racism, outright racism, that even the Trump campaign had to disavow some of them. But, the crowd loved it because it was full of true red-hatted loyalists.
What is the Trump campaign saying about that, Steve? How are they working to distance themselves? It's kind of a tricky needle to thread.
They put out a statement saying that, particularly that crack about Puerto Rico. They said that was a joke that the Trump campaign doesn't share. You might be unhappy with gas and grocery prices. You might be unhappy with the border. But remember, Donald Trump is worse. And that's the core message that Harris is delivering in the last few days.
And speaking of Harris and her closing arguments, to be honest, it really wasn't that long ago that we heard the opening arguments from Harris. What a wild ride this has been. But where she delivers her closing argument tomorrow is key. Can you talk about where that's going to be? And this is definitely part of the strategy.
Yeah, well, I'm sure she's going to be in Wisconsin probably more than once in the last week, right? I don't know the exact schedule, but you're going to see a lot of her. You're going to see a lot of her surrogates. Maybe you'll see Beyonce. One of the reasons why she is using these celebrity surrogates, first of all, it gets a lot of media attention, but you got to remember that the real impact that these surrogates have, particularly these celebrities, is the social media following that they have. They have Beyonce probably has several 100 million followers on social media.
You're right about Wisconsin. We've seen Harris many times over the last few months, and we'll see her again on Wednesday in Madison. But I was specifically thinking about tomorrow and the park she'll be at just outside of the White House, right by the south lawn of the White House. That's going to have a lot of people thinking back to January 6th.
Right. Yeah, look, and that fits with exactly the point I was making earlier. If Kamala Harris is going to win, she's going to do it she has to remind people of the things they did not like about Donald Trump. Right now, a lot of voters are saying, well, I might not have liked Trump, but, the economy was better. My paycheck stretched farther. Under Biden, I really was stressed because of the price of gas and groceries. So that's a fact, and a lot of folks still are bothered by inflation. Inflation is always the most damaging of all political issues, because it affects every single family in Milwaukee and every other city in the country every day. So she's got to reframe the question. If this election is going to be a referendum on the Biden administration, if people really do ask themselves the question Donald Trump wants them to ask, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Harris is likely to lose. She has to get voters to reframe the question in their own minds. She's got to get them to say, okay, yeah, I don't like the inflation, but Donald Trump is so unhinged. Donald Trump is so chaotic. Donald Trump is so dangerous. Donald Trump is such a poor role model for my kids that he'd be worse. And if you get people to think about this as a choice between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, that works much better for the Democrats than if people in Milwaukee go into the voting booth and think of it as a referendum on the Biden years. If that's the frame, if that's the thought they have in their minds, then Trump is likely to win.
ABC's Steve Roberts, we appreciate your time this morning, Steve. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve.
Anytime.
When you need to sell quickly, choose Grandview to buy your home, even if it's less than perfect. Don't waste time and money on finding a real estate agent and dealing with showings. We'll buy your home completely as is. No repairs, not even a clean out. Grandview Homes gives you an offer in hours, and we close on the day you choose. in as little as 10 days with no closing costs. Visit GrandviewHomes.com for your fair cash offer today. Grandview Homes, the fastest and easiest way to sell your home.
Helping people and families seriously injured in accidents and standing up for victims to take the burden off their shoulders. Greg Matzik here at Gruber Law Offices. If you've been hurt in an accident, you make the call to Gruber, and they fight for you while you focus on healing. They are one of the largest personal injury firms in the Midwest, and they have been doing it right, serving the people in Wisconsin for 40 years. It's Gruber Law Offices. Visit gruber-law.com. Learn more about this locally known but nationally recognized law firm. They have got the powerful folks to help take on the insurance companies and fight for you. Make a phone call if you've been hurt in an accident to 414-276-6666.
As you age, you start noticing pain in your joints that didn't used to be there. But you don't have to live in pain. When joint pain becomes a reality, schedule your free pain evaluation with Rejuvenex. We'll find where your pain lives and inject powerful, FDA-approved medicines that reduce inflammation and pain, while improving mobility in hips, shoulders, elbows, and knees, with some patients experiencing relief for greater than 2 years before repeating the process. While treatments like stem cells can cost close to $10,000 per joint, at Rejuvenex, the cost for your injection can be as low as $65, and almost all major insurance plans cover our treatments, so you may not have to pay anything at all. Call us now to schedule your free pain evaluation, because I'm pretty sure we can help you. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Beautiful fall weekend is in the past, and we begin with very mild temperatures here. It was looking at the high today of 66, but the low of just 58. And we were down in like the 30s last week, covering up rose bushes, pulling in peppers.
And pulling out winter jackets in some cases.
Yes, it was chilly in the evening hours, but we've got a different sort of beginning to this week with some record highs potentially coming on Tuesday. Tyler Moore joins us, TMJ4 meteorologist. Kind of a wild start to the week here, Tyler, after a beautiful fall weekend.
Oh, yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, every time this month, I'm like, okay, one more round of 80s and then we're done. We've had 3 80-degree days. Now it looks like we got a chance to do another one. So pretty incredible for the end of October to see temperatures this warm.
Okay, so we're close to records. What are those records? You know, every once in a while the forecasts aren't spot on, so could we maybe hit a record?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking a degree away from records is what we're forecasting. So it is definitely in play. Today, we're not going to break any records. Mid-60s, record highs closer to 80. Tomorrow, we got a chance. Record high is 81 for Tuesday. Right now, forecasting 80. And it will not take much if we get a little more sunshine throughout the day, a pretty strong wind. There is a good chance that we could see 81, maybe tying that record there. So we'll have to wait and see just how warm those temperatures can get for Tuesday. And then same thing for Wednesday. A little bit cooler, I think, maybe by a degree or two. So right now forecasting 77. In Milwaukee, the record high is 78. So, yeah, we are really, really close to those record highs for Tuesday and Wednesday.
Looking forward to a great week here. Is there any rain in the forecast as we push on through the later part of the week?
Yeah, you know, there is a chance for an isolated rain shower tonight. So what's going to happen, the reason why we're seeing just a big temperature jump from the 60s today, close to 80 tomorrow, is because we have a warm front lifting through tonight. So along that warm front, we could see an isolated rain shower. Most of the models don't really develop much across our area. Better chance off to the north and out over Lake Michigan as we head through the overnight hours. But the better chance of rain is going to come Wednesday evening into Wednesday night, and then wrapping up Thursday morning. So it is good news for Halloween if people are trying to get out trick-or-treating. I know some cities are doing that during the evening hours on Thursday. Things should be dry. It's really just the overnight hours Wednesday into Thursday morning. And then another chance of rain towards the weekend. So I know we've had a couple good weekends of weather. It looks like that's going to come to an end as we'll see rain chances for Saturday and Sunday of the upcoming weekend. And we'll drop those temperatures back down too. Friday highs will be back in the 50s. So if you're not a fan of 80s in October, we'll welcome in November with some 50s heading our way.
Oh, good. And you answered my question about Thursday for trick-or-treating, because there are a lot of communities. You got Brookfield, Germantown, Racine, Waukesha, just to name a few. And then, by the way, the town of Norway, trick-or-treating on Saturday. How did that happen?
Oh, wow.
Like, out of all the towns, they
this coming Saturday?
Yeah. They were like, you know, it's okay. We'll let everybody else go first.
November. Yeah. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyler.
Good stuff, Tyler. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good week.
You bet. 11:29 news is next here on WTMJ.
So if you're selling a $2 million home and you found yourself what you thought was a pretty good deal on your real estate commission at, say, about 3.6%, you'd pay $72,000 in real estate commission. Not bad, right? Well, your Benefit Realty agent will charge you no more than $19,000 no matter what size property you're selling for the listing side of your sale. And it all comes with the full service you'd expect from an experienced real estate brokerage. This is Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com. We've saved our clients over $19 million in real estate commission. Now, I say this because that's a pretty big number, but I also bring it up because it's always been cool for us to save our clients money. It's not about being the top volume agency. Over here, it's more about you. And at 1.9% commission with a cap on our commission for the listing side of your sale, no matter what size property you're selling, you will save substantially. This is Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com.
Or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Some have called their championship lucky. And this year, the Celtics' luck has officially run out.
Lillard the other way. Launches from three and delivers a beauty. Giannis going coast to coast on the other side. Draws the foul and kisses it in anyway. That is the NBA's most lethal weapon.
The Bucks head to Boston to take on the Celtics. Our Bucks Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 6. We are the home of the Bucks. WTMJ.
I'm Greg Natzik. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It is Monday, October 28th. Your top story, campaigning across all corners of Wisconsin.
I'm Jessica Ty. A critical vote in Wauwatosa.
Partly cloudy, breezy today, a high of 66. Isolated showers tonight, very mild, however, and a low of 58. Windy, warm, cloudy on Tuesday with a high of 80. 58 and partly sunny in Milwaukee at 11:32 from the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom, Decision, Wisconsin. A day of multiple campaign stops across the Badger State continues this afternoon. Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz kicking off a two-stop day, I should say, in Manitowoc.
Folks in Wisconsin don't fear the future. You just build the future. We need to give you something to go into that voting booth. Those who haven't already early voted, give you something to vote for, not just against.
Meanwhile, Governor Walz en route to Waukesha. Republican nominee J.D. Vance will hold an event at Wausau's downtown airport before heading to Racine Memorial Hall later this evening. Minnesota First Lady Gwen Walz will be in La Crosse with First Lady Dr. Jill Biden for an Educators for Harris Walz event. That begins at 6 o'clock.
A well-known bartender in Bayview is seriously hurt after a street race ended in a hit-and-run. This happened just after 2:30 a.m. Saturday. Two drivers were racing when 33-year-old Kara Corder was crossing the street near Ellen Street and Kinnikinnick Avenue. One of them hit her. Both sped off. Corder's boss at Vanguard tells TMJ4 he saw it all happen.
I'm just glad she's not dead. Because, really, I could have been standing over her dead body in the street that day. Right now, I'm just clinging on to any of the more positive updates,
Alderwoman Marina Dmitrievich is now calling for a Department of Public Works review of that intersection. Neither of the drivers are in custody.
The future of multiple Wauwatosa school programs could be decided tonight by the school board. The board is set to vote on a district recommendation to close the high-performing Wauwatosa STEM charter school and two separate STEM programs within the next 5 years. A task force earlier this year found specialty programming like the STEM school and other programs were not as racially diverse as the overall district. A district-wide audit in March revealed the need for expanded STEM opportunities for all students. Superintendent Damon Means says the move would only be instructional and not done for cost-saving reasons.
The fate of UW-Milwaukee's Waukesha campus could soon be in the hands of developers. The university announced earlier this year the branch would close after the spring 2025 semester. Teddy Nichol with the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Some kind of mixed housing is really what they think is best for the site. So they decided that the idea is that they're going to sell the land, they're going to demolish the building, and likely it'll become some kind of housing community of single-family, duplexes, apartments.
If the city of Waukesha approves demolition, the site could have between 350 and 450 housing units.
Get your hands off my cheddar. A celebrity chef is asking for help after several high-priced wheels of cheese have gone missing.
There has been a great cheese robbery.
Jamie Oliver is making a plea on Instagram to anyone who may know the whereabouts of nearly 1,000 wheels of artisanal cheddar from an award-winning dairy in London.
Some of the best cheddar cheese in the world has been stolen, 22 tons worth, from some robbers that basically pretended to be a French supermarket.
The estimated value, almost $400,000.
This will slow Neal's Yard being able to support all of their cheesemakers over the next 5 years.
Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Was that you?
Wow.
Where were you this weekend?
No, but I do love my cheddar cheese. Wow, that's a big deal.
That's a lot of wheels of cheese.
The great cheese mystery.
From Neal's Yard. Sounds like a Scotland Yard kind of thing. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 11:35.
And that's the best thing about Capital's Furnace Beyondification.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Hey, Merle, what you got? What's this? A screenplay?
Let me see this. Captain Capital, Heat and Air Hero.
That's so awesome, Merle.
Hang on. I've been writing a screenplay like this.
For years.
It's an epic, and it's Capital Man, not Captain Capital. Yes, of course he restores your furnace to like new condition.
Says here, Captain Capital has a deep clean device.
Aha! Capital Man deep cleans your system with his laser beam hands.
What?
I'm developing a sidekick. He always does a comprehensive safety checks. You wrote yourself in as the sidekick?
As long as it gets across how Capital's Furnace Beyondification saves the day.
And how you want to do it before winter hits.
Well, that's the whole point.
That's what I'm saying.
Then it's great.
Laura, Seth, I need a moment with Merle, please.
Schedule your Furnace Beyondification today at callcapitalcares.com.
Oh, man, it's getting so expensive to dine out, but not at the Mine Shaft Restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. There is free pizza today at the Mine Shaft. Every Monday, when you buy one pizza, you get a second pizza free. Buy 2 pizzas, get 2 free. Buy 5, get 5. You buy 100 pizzas, you get 100 pizzas for free. The best Monday dining value anywhere. Business owners and managers bring in pizza for your loyal employees and clients. Your second pizza is free. Your employees are going to love it. It's great pizza. Coaches, bring in your team for free pizza. Your kids and grandkids can safely play in that huge game room. It's quietly tucked away from the dining area. It's big food. It's big fun. It's the Mine Shaft. Order now for your employees and pick up your hot pizza shortly, or dine in the cool and comfortable Mine Shaft restaurant in beautiful downtown Hartford or near the EAA in Oshkosh. Mondays are tough enough. Don't cook. Buy one pizza today. Get one free. MineShaftRestaurant.com. It's the amazing Mine Shaft.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The NFL Network reporting Packers quarterback Jordan Love avoided a major injury to his groin, but his status for Sunday's game against the Lions is in question. Packers have won 4 straight. Sunday's game will be played at Lambeau Field with first place on the line. And it's night 2 of a back-to-back for the Bucks, who post up in Boston against the defending champion Celtics. Milwaukee has dropped consecutive games to the Bulls and Nets. Coverage of tonight's game gets underway at 6 o'clock.
Let's get you an update on the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. It's really much of the same. No new updates for you, and that's not bad news, to be honest. No big crashes to let you know about. We do have a couple disabled vehicles out in the system. The 2 that are kind of in weird spots that are slowing things down. One is close to Pewaukee Lake, in between Pewaukee and Delafield. There's a disabled vehicle on the RAM from County SS to I-94 West, and it's just in a spot. To be honest, it's actually in between a ton of construction barrels. So you got all the orange construction barrels out there, and then you have the cars that are going onto the highway coming off the ramp, and then boom, that disabled vehicle's right there. So it's just in a tricky spot that is kind of causing some people to be a little bit caught off guard. If we travel up north to Cedar Lake area, there's also a disabled vehicle in another weird spot on the exit to Wisconsin 144 from 41 south. Again, not causing too many problems, but both of them are in tricky spots, so a heads up.
Traffic is sponsored by Kowal Investment Group, the retirement specialists. Retire well with Kowal.
Our team of fiduciary advisors are here to help you retire well with our streamlined retirement process. Give us a call today at 262-522-4040 or visit us at thekowalway.com.
Partly cloudy and breezy today, a high of 66. Mild tonight, chance of showers, and a low of 58. Tomorrow, windy and warm, perhaps record-setting temps, up to 80 degrees. Wednesday's high, 77. 59 and partly sunny in Milwaukee at 11:39.
time in 5 years, the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel is out with its top 25 restaurants list. I have missed this, Greg.
Oh, definitely. I always used to print the list and then check off the ones I'd been to and then highlight the ones that I thought I needed to go to in this ever-evolving dining scene in Milwaukee. I'm going to do it again.
When I came back to Milwaukee more than 10 years ago now, probably 11 years ago, I studied this list. And I would check off the list as well when making reservations. I'd always be like, what haven't I gone to? Okay, that's on the list. Let me go there. So this is really exciting. Journal-Sentinel dining critic Rachel Bernhard, who created the list, joins us live in the studio. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So we have to ask, 5 years. Not everybody realizes why, but why has it been 5 years since we've had this list?
Well, the last list was in 2019, and we all know what happened in 2020. That shook up the restaurant industry for sure. And my predecessor, Carol Deptola, she left her position in 2023 in March. In between that time, I don't think she was ready to welcome restaurants, or restaurants weren't in a great position still after the pandemic. So now it seems like they're finally back in the way we used to know them. And so this is the first time that I'm doing it.
Well, it also takes a lot of time to piece together, right? I mean, there are 25 restaurants included in this list, which means you have to sample probably upwards of 100 or more to kind of make your list. You can't just do that in a couple of weeks, right?
No.
It takes a minute.
It sure does. It starts basically at the beginning of the year. And I work for months and months dining at these places. I try to get to them at least twice for them to be on the list.
Okay, I was wondering about that at least twice, because did you run into a time where maybe it was a little bit of a miss, but you knew that it's really a hit, so you had to go back? Do you have any of those fun, insider stories that we don't know about, just reading this list?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, there are so many places that, I may have loved in the past, and I went a couple of times, I'm like, ooh, what happened? Maybe the service was just a little bit off, or the food was a little bit different, and just those small little changes or the little flubs can really make a difference between being on the list and being cut from the list.
Have you noticed going through your list, how many places, and there's a wide variety here, how many do the seasonal menu kind of thing, like they mix things up every couple of months, and you've got the harvest menu, and then you've got, or is it just, kind of consistent from start to finish each time you've gone? Does that make a difference in the world of your rating?
Absolutely. And it kind of makes my job a little bit harder because I have to, if I go to a restaurant like, let's say, Birch, that really puts their produce forward and locally grown ingredients, their menu in the winter is going to be completely different than in the summer. So I kind of have to go multiple times or in different seasons just to make sure they're hitting on all cylinders in all seasons.
So we're not going to roll through every single restaurant on the top 25 here, because people can go check it out as well at Journal-Sentinel. But let's talk about a handful of these. Maybe, number one, what are a handful of the favorites, the longtime ones that when you open up this list, you're not surprised to see their mainstays? And then what are some of the newer ones?
Well, I think it wasn't on the list in 2019, but one of the oldest, or actually the oldest restaurant on the list is Three Brothers, the Serbian restaurant in Bayview that has been open for 68 years consecutively.
Wow.
So that is a classic. It's not exactly fine dining, but it's just this warm, wonderful experience, unlike any other restaurant I feel that we have in the city. Of course, there's also Sanford that I think people expect. When you talk about Milwaukee fine dining, they're kind of the OG, and they're still putting out really, really great work. The Bartolotta restaurants, there are three on the list, Lake Park Bistro, Ristorante in Wauwatosa, and Bacchus as well. So I feel as though people are expecting those, and they're still doing such a great job with it that I had to include them.
How do you weight food versus service, ambiance, atmosphere, what you're looking at, all that kind of stuff?
Well, it definitely all comes into play. And of course, we want the food to be delicious at every level. But I personally put a lot of weight on the ambience. I want to walk out of the restaurant in a better mood than I was when I walked in. I want to feel at home. I want to feel comforted. And so there is, there's service that comes into play there. And, even the playlist at a restaurant can really make a difference with the ambiance. So, it's all kind of a balance.
It's interesting that you say that because we went to, let me just double check here. Yes. We went to Ardent over the weekend before a show at the Rep. And when you talk about ambiance, I just love it because you go down there, and that's a restaurant too that has been on the list often, but has changed, especially recently. But you kind of, you go downstairs, and then the lounge area is just kind of cozy. It's intimate. So I hear you on that. We talked about some of the restaurants that have been on the list that you expect to see. But as you noted, the Milwaukee restaurant scene has changed quite a bit since the last time this list was there. And we have a lot of new restaurants. So what are some of the newer ones that maybe people haven't gone to yet that, boom, made this list this year?
Well, there are a few that did not appear on the list. I want to say there are about 6 or 7 that have opened since 2019. La Dama was one that I was a little surprised that I included on the list, but it was so great. It's in Walker's Point. Really fantastic Mexican food, really elevated. I feel as though maybe some people sleep on that restaurant a little bit, but it definitely deserves to be there. Other new restaurants, like I mentioned, Birch, that Loopy and Iris is another great one downtown that opened in 2022, I want to say. So there are a lot of new places that people should check out along with the old favorites.
Do you let them know you're coming? How does this work?
No.
Do you wear a mustache and like the funny glasses?
A big hat.
I don't. I am not as anonymous as my predecessors were, but I do. I'll use a fake name, a pseudonym for my reservations. And
what are some of those? Do you get fun with any of them?
Oh, of course I do. I do a lot of like TV character references, and I have a lot of fun with that. But yeah, I mean, but if someone recognizes me while I'm there, I don't think they're going to change their service. What can they do when I already sit down? That's kind of the way I think about it. And so far, I don't think I've had any preferential treatment at any restaurant I've dined at.
Have you felt any pressure to have somebody on the list, whether it's outside pressure or maybe even internally, that I won't say which one I'm thinking about, but there's a restaurant that I have always loved that is typically on the list that is not on the list this time. And I just wonder if you kind of look at the old list, if you know that's very well thought of in town, is there any pressure that comes into this?
Oh, absolutely. And I put a lot of pressure on myself too when I was making this list. It really hurt me to leave some places off the list, but in just the days leading up to me filing the story, I really had to be critical, super, super critical. And, if a place isn't hitting on all cylinders, even, on like the one night I'm there, I have to take that into consideration.
Sure.
I won't say the restaurant that I'm thinking of.
You are going to, or you're not?
But I will say this: what I see is a lot of eclectic menus on this list. I don't see like a steakhouse, for example. I don't want to say that that's easier to duplicate that meal versus a really eclectic menu that requires some different thought, perhaps. But I may have missed it, but is that? How do you view that? So it's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about this list is that it's my personal preference. My list is going to look different from everybody else's list. And for me, when I'm judging a restaurant, I am looking at kind of creativity. I like to be wowed by a dish. I like to see the way different ingredients play together, how they're plated beautifully, that kind of thing. So if something seems to be a little bit more creative than like a standard restaurant, then I'm going to, weigh that. That's just my personal preference. I love a good steakhouse. But, I just love like to have a little fun too.
Well, and haven't we, just Top Chef. That was a perfect example of just showing what we can really do here in our area and showing off some of the wonderful chefs we have in town and some of the wonderful restaurants. How fun has this been for you, not only to put this list together, but it's been a little more than a year in this new spot for you. How great and fun has it been to be the new dining critic in Milwaukee during this fantastic time?
It's been amazing. I think Top Chef, it was announced that it was going to be here maybe on my 3rd week on the job. So that really changed the scope of my job. It was, I did recaps of all the episodes on JS Online. And it's been really fun to see the response. I've gotten emails from readers outside of town who said, thanks for your coverage. I want to go try Milwaukee. I want to see what its restaurant scene is like. I never expected Milwaukee would have this much flavor. So it's been really fun to, we're in the spotlight now, and I get to help people decide where to go.
We were looking for you on TV, too. Like,
we were,
where's
yeah.
Rachel? I was like, she's at the farm in Oconomowoc. I see her.
You were at that one, right?
Yeah. I had a few close-up experiences on the Restaurant Wars episode. They put a very big close-up of me taking a huge bite of food.
Yeah.
That was not flattering at all, but very funny.
Yeah.
Though maybe better that than like being at the Bucks game and having it be like the reverse cam.
Oh, boy.
That grosses me out every time.
Right? Yeah. Oh, that is wild. Okay, how full are you? Do you eat every single meal? And are you just ordering one entree? How does that process work?
Well, I almost never dine alone. Never. And I typically like to have at least 2 other diners with me, so then I can try their dishes as well. So, I'll try to get a couple different appetizers on a visit, and I'll try to take little bites off of everybody's plate when I'm going, just so I can eat my way around the menu and kind of get a better feel about their wider menu. But I am, I'm dining out a lot, especially as I was preparing for this list. I mean, I think I was dining out maybe 5-6 weeks or nights a week.
Oh.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I definitely get very full, and I try very much to have as many leftovers as possible, but sometimes things are so good, I just have to eat it all.
Yeah, no doubt. Is there going to be one for 2025? Like, do you start on, I don't know, January 3rd? Like, here we go again. Time to start again.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, I'm already thinking about next year. I'll have a little bit of downtime, but, kicking off in the beginning of January, I'll start making my first trips back to restaurants again.
Well, you said you'd like to have at least 2 people. Greg and I.
Yeah, for sure.
Food.
Mix it up a little bit.
We're happy to join. Well, we'll taste a little bit of that, taste a little bit of this.
Yeah.
This is super fun. It's Milwaukee's top 25 restaurants for 2024. Some newcomers. It's become a very dynamic and eclectic dining scene. Rachel Bernard covers it expertly for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. So much fun. Thank you for being here, and congrats on getting the list together, because it's not easy, no doubt.
No, thanks for recognizing that, and thanks for having me.
Yes,
good
can't
stuff.
wait to check off more of these, Greg.
No kidding. Yeah, I've got some work to do. It's 11:51 on WTMJ.
A lot can happen in 25 years, especially in the swamps of Washington, D.C. When we first elected her, Tammy Baldwin focused on Wisconsin. But Baldwin changed. Today, she rakes in campaign cash from left-wing groups and does their bidding. Baldwin supports forcing women's domestic violence shelters in Wisconsin to admit biological men, making survivors of domestic violence sleep in the same building as men. She supported puberty blockers and sex change surgeries for minor children in Wisconsin. Baldwin even voted to send stimulus checks to criminals in jail, including the Boston Marathon bomber. We thought we knew Tammy Baldwin, but she's changed. Now, it's time for us to make a change. Replace Tammy Baldwin. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Annex Wealth Management. Investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Forget commission sales pitches and financial products you don't need. Know the difference. Annex provides elite, comprehensive financial planning customized to who you are and what you need. AnnexWealth.com.
Did you wake up with joint pain? Does it hurt doing routine activities? How are those knees feeling? Or have you been told it's hip replacement time? WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here. You deserve a life of comfort, not a life of repeated steroid shots that cause long-term damage. It's time to check out QC Kinetics. They'll walk you through the proper diagnostics for a non-surgical regenerative treatment. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative cellular treatments for joint pain. It's an all-natural approach that harnesses your body's own healing properties to treat the root cause of your arthritic pain. Yes, you can have real, lasting relief from joint pain without drugs, without surgery, and without downtime. Learn about your options. Call QC Kinetics. Consultations are free with Saturday appointments available at locations in Greenfield and Mequon. Call QC Kinetics today, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today, 414-285-3474.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Wrapping up hour number 1, it's Wisconsin's Midday News here from Monday. Greg and Jessica with you. So the Packers get a win yesterday. New kicker's been around for 2 weeks. He's got 2 game-winning kicks. So the late game last night, well, not last night, but the late afternoon game was the Bears and the Commanders. Yeah, 2 pretty good teams. The Bears are off to a pretty good start. Did you see how this thing ended?
He's got plenty of time. Launches, deep pass into the area of the end zone. Tipped, and it's caught by Noah Brown. He was the tip man, and this place is now gone into bedlam mode. Crushing loss. 18-15 Washington. Hail Mary, 2 seconds left. Or as they like to say here, Hail Washington.
Yeah, that's Jeff Joniak with the call on the Bears radio network. So Washington is trailing. There's just a couple of seconds left in the game, and their quarterback is running around behind the line of scrimmage, the Washington quarterback, for like 13 seconds.
Jeez.
And he launches a 50-yard bomb into the air, and a member of the Bears defense tips it, and it goes right into the arms of a Commanders receiver. Game being played in the nation's capital, and the place goes completely upside down.
Jeez.
But today, the guy being taken to task is one of the members of the Bears defense, who on that final play, they were so spread out. Everybody's like lined up in the end zone, right? And there's this guy from the Bears who is taunting the crowd. He's waving, he's pointing. He's not even in the play. The play is happening, right? And he's still jawing at the crowd. And then finally he sees something is about to happen. So he kind of runs and inserts himself into the play. He's the one who tips the ball.
You're kidding.
And it goes into the arms of a Commander's receiver.
Oh.
Game over in Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
Incredible. So
I do not normally pay attention to the Bears.
Oh, well, this is a nice reason to pay attention to what happened to the Bears yesterday. They'll be on the Packers' schedule before too long. So satisfying win for the Packers, and equally, perhaps, as satisfying a loss for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's like, hey, we've got our kicker now. I mean, now it feels like it's kind of been cemented after the way we won the last 2 games. But unfortunately, with injuries and Love, oof.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard to watch, hard to see.
That's one to watch throughout the week here. They don't practice till Wednesday, so it's going to be a couple days before we know anything. They don't put pads on till Thursday. I wouldn't expect much from Jordan Love throughout the practice week. My gut feeling, if you're asking me gut feeling, I don't think he plays against Detroit.
Well, and I can't decide if, when I found out it was a groin injury and not kind of just aggravating the first injury, I can't decide if I like that better or not.
Yeah.
Is it better that it's a different injury? Or is it worse? Because now it's 2 injuries.
So he didn't further the knee injury. He's been wearing a brace, too.
Yeah.
So that thing is pretty locked up. He just couldn't move. He, after the first drive of the game, he could not move, so he was in shotgun. It changes the game plan. Nothing looked comfortable. Still made some amazing plays, but that's one to watch. But keep in mind, the Packers play the Lions this weekend. Battle for first place at Lambeau Field, right? Huge game, right?
Wait, I'm going
a big
to that
window.
game.
Are you really?
Oh my gosh, it's just been such a whirlwind the last few weeks.
Okay,
That's the game
all right.
I'm going to. Shoot, and he may not play. I don't want him to further any injuries, but
they have a bye week the
gotta
following
win.
week.
That's
so
right.
that's like the thing that you might be looking at. Well, they got the bye week, so maybe some extended rest opportunity. He's got to be healthy for the long term. That's
what
important. You're most concerned with.
That's critical.
It's 11:58 on WTMJ. News is next.
When we're out in your town, come say hi to us as we broadcast live from the Pebble Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're out on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show, wherever we may be, you can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
WTMJ.
was driving by the Hounds and Tap yesterday after my daughter's soccer game. They had a great crowd in there watching the game, hanging out. Beautiful fall day, pups walking around, socializing, people socializing, having some food and a nice cold drink, watching the game. And you can do that at the Hounds and Tap. It's in Menominee Falls, designed for dogs, and humans have a lot of fun too. Check out their indoor-outdoor tavern. They open about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Maybe you need to get in a little early, however, for a grooming appointment, dropping the dog off for doggy daycare or boarding. You can do that too. And the hours are much more throughout the business day before 4 o'clock when the tavern opens. Connect with the Hounds and Tap for all of your needs. Grooming, boarding, daycare. If you just want to hang out and enjoy a night, watch a game, you can do that too. It's in Menominee Falls, designed for dogs, 12,000 square feet, incredible people. They get it at the Hounds and Tap. Nothing like it in the area. It's the Hounds and Tap in Menominee Falls.
When I shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, every time I come in, it's like a whole new store. It's because new inventory is arriving daily, all kinds of everything. And let me tell you, thrift store prices make buying easy. And helping others at the same time, that's icing on the cake. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
It's WTMJ's Debbie Loziga for Comfort Awnings. You've heard me talk about the wonderful new retractable awning the team at Comfort Awnings installed at my home. Now I can have all the cookouts and get-togethers in my backyard with some extra shade and relaxation for my guests. Comfort Awnings is a local family-owned company in Burlington that provides expert installation in southeast Wisconsin and northern Illinois. In October, you can receive a free motor with the purchase of any awning or screen. Their best deal yet. Call 414-AWNINGS or visit comfortawnings.com to learn more.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
It's a bully that will not let up until you do something about it. And the worst part is that the bullying happens when you're at your most vulnerable. You might as well have your hands tied behind your back while that bully puts one hand over your mouth and pinches your nose with the other. He'll let up, let you catch your breath, and then he'll do it again. Sleep apnea is a bully. Not long ago, we heard our friend John tell you about how his bully was stopping his breathing in his sleep over 145 times an hour. Think about what that can do to your body's organs. It's no wonder that the snowball effects of long-term obstructive sleep apnea are heart disease, stroke, even depression and anxiety. But this problem is solvable, and we have solutions, and you'll be surprised at how simple they are.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. It's time to put that bully in his place. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better.
AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
Did your home suffer damage from a storm or severe weather? Don't stress any longer. Loyal Family Renovations treats all of its customers like they've joined their personal family, and every project as if the work was being done at their own house. Loyal Family Renovations has a leg up on the competition due to the personal relationships they've built with insurance adjusters over the years. Loyal Family is family-owned, and the loyalty belongs to their customers. Contact them today to get your free home inspection. LoyalFamilyRenovations.com.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlands.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you a free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands. You're due for service.
Richlands.
Built Right. One location saves you money.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
The Bucks are back for their home opener at Fiserv Forum.
Giannis going coast to coast on the other side, draws the foul and kisses it in anyway. Here comes Lillard the other way. He wants in on the fun. Launches from three and delivers a beauty.
And what better opponent to start against than the Bulls from the south of the border? Our coverage of the game starts tonight at 6 with Buck Shoot Around on your home for the Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
I'm Greg Nansick. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Monday, October 28th. Your top story, more campaigning in battleground Wisconsin.
I'm Jessica Ty. President Joe Biden casts his ballot.
Partly cloudy and breezy today, a high of 66. Mild tonight, chance of showers, a low of 58. Windy and warm tomorrow. Could set a record tomorrow with a high of 80 degrees. 59 and partly sunny in Milwaukee at 12:03. Another week of campaign stops in Wisconsin begins today. Both VP nominees are in Wisconsin. Democratic nominee Tim Walz beginning at Wisconsin Aluminum Foundry. That's in Manitowoc.
We believe in this country, but believe in what we can do. We're going to have to fight for it. And the Vice President of the United States has told us that. When we fight, we win. But this week, we're changing it. When we vote,
Governor Walz now on his way to Waukesha. Meanwhile, Republican nominee J.D. Vance expected to hold an event at Wausau Downtown Airport this afternoon before heading to Racine Memorial Hall. And after flight delays prevented her from making a stop in Green Bay on Friday, Minnesota First Lady Gwen Walz plans to be in La Crosse today, joining First Lady Dr. Jill Biden for an Educators for Harris Walz event at 6 o'clock.
Wisconsinites aren't the only ones heading to the polls early. This morning, President Joe Biden cast his ballot.
The president greeted voters in line outside the Department of Elections office in Newcastle, Delaware, and then waited in line himself until it was his turn. He presented his ID and signed his early ballot.
Joseph Biden now voting.
And the president then went into the booth to cast his vote. He was greeted by applause as he finished and walked out. And when asked if he thinks Vice President Harris will win, he responded, Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
The future of multiple Wauwatosa school programs could be decided tonight by the school board. The board is set to vote on a district recommendation to close out the high-performing Wauwatosa STEM charter school and 2 separate STEM programs within the next 5 years. A task force earlier this year found specialty programming like the STEM school and other programs were not as racially diverse as the overall district. A district-wide audit in March revealed the need for expanded STEM opportunities for all students. Superintendent Damon Means says the move would only be instructional and not done for cost-saving reasons.
A father and son are facing charges for defacing a controversial mural. 73-year-old Peter Mailer and his son, 42-year-old Zachariah of Milwaukee, are now charged with criminal damage to property. The controversial mural depicted a swastika intertwined with a Star of David. It appeared on a building near Holton and Locust in Milwaukee's north side. Hours after going up, it was sprayed over with black paint. And according to court documents, surveillance cameras captured the father and son duo walking up to the mural and then taking part of it down with an axe. The father and son are not in custody. Both are ordered to make their initial appearance in court on November 20th.
McDonald's is bringing back Quarter Pounders after tests show its beef patties are not linked to a recent E. coli outbreak.
Health officials have been leaning towards slivered onions as a potential source of the illness across several states. At least one person has died and 75 people have been sickened. Now the fast food chain is facing multiple lawsuits.
News Nation's Nick Smith, in a statement, McDonald's says the FDA still believes the source is a single onion supplier. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. A lot of green today, with the Dow currently up 260 points at 42,373. NASDAQ is up about 85 points at 18,604. S&P up about 20 at 5827. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, and Annex Ignite. It's financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Sunny Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:07.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Capco's Kids to Kids Toy Drive is bringing us all together again to collect toys for children and families in need.
Join Capco and WTMJ for a celebration of giving on December 7th at the Kazmarek Center in Grafton.
This is more than just a toy drive. It's about kids helping kids. We are learning the importance of giving and how that impacts other kids and families all over Wisconsin.
Experience the joy of giving on December 7th.
And don't forget to bring toys.
Help us make a difference this Christmas. Visit kidstokidstoydrive.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you feel self-conscious? Try Hair Grow from New Nordic. Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start feeling your best with Hair Grow.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. NFL Network is reporting that Packers quarterback Jordan Love avoided a major injury to his groin during yesterday's win over Jacksonville. Still, Love's status for Sunday's game against the Lions is in question. Packers have won 4 in a row. Night 2 of a back-to-back for the Bucks. They are in Boston to take on the defending champion Celtics. Bucks have dropped back-to-back games to the Bulls and Nets. Tip-off tonight, 6 o'clock here on WTMJ.
Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. No big crashes to let you know about, but we do have a couple disabled vehicles on the system. The new one right now that just popped up minutes ago, a disabled vehicle on the ramp from 7 Mile Road to 4194 North. Once again, disabled vehicle on the ramp from 7 Mile Road to 4194 North.
Mild temperatures today, a lot of clouds and a high of 66. Chance for some rain tonight, a low of just 58 degrees. It's not going to drop all that much. And that's because tomorrow it's going to warm back up. Up to 80 degrees tomorrow could set a record. It'll be breezy, windy, and warm. Wednesday's high 77, 59 and sunny in Milwaukee at 12:09.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
I just got another text from Ted Cruz.
Right. Who's coming up next?
Good one.
Can you make a guess?
I don't know. I can't keep track of this. Let's see. Exclusive election integrity message from Carrie Lake. Okay, that's a good one. That's a new one here. And good to know, but there are ballot chasers on the ground right now in Pennsylvania, and they need my support.
Need your support and need your money. I'm always intrigued by, how do they decide that right now, today, we need $75, just $75. But then the week before it was just 25, or in 2 days it's 25. They just need money. They need support. They ultimately need your vote.
I kind of laughed at the one I got from the Harris campaign. Kamala Harris needs your money. It's like, didn't she get $1 billion in 3 weeks? I think we're pretty good. I think we're good. Just that last commercial to air on November 3rd, maybe, that's what we're fighting for. I think both parties are pretty well funded here at this point.
I get them from both sides in my text messages, but there's one party that uses the same number over and over, so I have not actually deleted that. I've kept that particular thread from that particular number, and it's just hilarious to see how long it is at this point and how many people have been involved, because that same number, it will be different people. It's like, hey, I'm so-and-so. Hey, it's this person.
I'm definitely getting more texts from the Republican side than the Democratic side. I don't know how they found me, but I guess that's just life in 2024. 12:11 today on WTMJ. It's the big stories that we're following.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
The running mates take on Wisconsin. Democratic VP nominee Minnesota Governor Tim Walz campaigned in Manitowoc this morning. He'll head to Waukesha next. The Republican VP nominee Ohio Senator J.D. Vance campaigns in Wausau this afternoon and then Racine this evening. It is a race to the finish with only 8 days to go until Election Day. 8 days to go. 1 week and a day. When it comes to the top of the tickets, Vice President Kamala Harris campaigns in Michigan today. She'll be back in Wisconsin on Wednesday. Former President Donald Trump spends his day in Georgia, but he's coming back to the Badger State as well. Trump campaigns in Green Bay on Wednesday and Milwaukee on Friday.
Well, school is back in session in portions of Asheville, North Carolina after a once in a 1,000-year storm. Hurricane Helene, it went through North Carolina as a tropical storm, but known as Hurricane Helene when it made landfall. Asheville, 45 schools, roughly 22,000 students. Not everybody is back, but most areas are. Private schools are a little slower in getting up and running. Amazingly, none of Asheville's schools were damaged in the storm. This is incredible to me. All have electricity, all have internet, all have running water. The water in the pipes, they say don't drink it. Not sure about that just yet. So the school system is working with an aid organization to provide clean water in those schools. I've looked at some of the cleanup, and I mean, they've been at this for weeks trying to get this area pieced back together. And it still looks like ground zero in parts of that western part of the state.
Well, and how nice will it be for these kids to go back to school? Because it's just a little piece of normalcy.
Something, yeah.
Right? It's kind of like, okay, even though it looks strange and weird and wrong outside still, we're going back to school, we're hitting the books again. This is normal for us. That's going to help.
Yeah, busing is up and running, not in every one of these districts or counties, but they're trying to piece it back together, but good step here.
Retailers are duking it out early this year to get a slice of your spending on Thanksgiving dinner. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze breaks down the deals.
Grocers are rolling back prices to compete with shoppers who are on a budget. Walmart is promoting a so-called inflation-free Thanksgiving, 29 items to feed 8 people for under $7 a person. Sam's Club members meal feeds 10 at about $10 a person, and it can be delivered to your house pre-cooked, so it only takes 2 hours to heat up. And Aldi is offering its lowest prices since 2019, a meal for 10, including a butterball turkey, at just under $5 per person.
Okay, don't forget about Target. You name all those stores, right? We got to put Target or Target if you want to be fancy for Thanksgiving. Target just announced a Thanksgiving meal that will serve 4 people. It's $20. It's $5 less than last year. That deal features 7 items. You get turkey, of course, green beans, stuffing mix, potatoes, and gravy. But Greg, the turkey, remember, this is only $20. So the turkey can't be any more than 10 pounds.
The problem with Target is that you still walk out of there spending $100.
Oh, that's for sure.
How did that happen?
Always.
You just bought candles and some detergent. What happened here?
And all the other side things that you just grabbed and put in the bin.
12:14 on WTMJ. Tim Sheehy, our weekly check-in with the senior advisor to the MMAC, the future of basketball in Milwaukee, the future of 794. Some other big stories here that we're following here locally. Tim is with us after this.
Some have called their championship lucky. And this year, the Celtics' luck has officially run out.
Lillard the other way. Launches from 3 and delivers a beauty. Giannis going coast to coast on the other side. Draws the foul and kisses it in anyway. That is the NBA's most lethal weapon.
The Bucks head to Boston to take on the Celtics. Our Bucks Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 6. We are the home of the Bucks. WTMJ.
We found that the high road is worth the climb, and it's less crowded. At Semper Fi, everything we do is done to the best of our ability. There are no shortcuts. It's pretty simple. We do what we say we're going to do because we fully understand that a reputation is never given. It's always earned. It is in our nature to keep our values intact so that when we leave your job, you'll be right there to shake our hand with satisfaction. We've installed massive flat roofs and shingled huge churches, schools, and all kinds of homes from modest to extravagant, all with integrity and pride in our work. And we're going to keep doing it for generations to come. That's what always faithful means to us. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Mild temperatures today, a high of 66 degrees. Could see some rain tonight and a low of 58. Tomorrow we warm up again. It'll be partly cloudy. It'll be breezy. It'll be warm with a high of 80 degrees, 77 your high on Wednesday. It's 59 and partly sunny in Milwaukee at 12:16. Tim Sheehy is a senior advisor to the MMAC. Joins us every Monday at about 12:15. More appealing to you, more satisfying, the Packers' walk-off win or the Bears' Hail Mary loss yesterday? Did you soak all that in?
It was so nice I didn't take either one in. But as you know now, in like 2 minutes, you can see the clips of every drive for the Packer game. So happy they pulled it out in a tough situation for Love.
Yeah, and the Bears lose on a Hail Mary. Unbelievable.
Are you talking about that 2 minutes when you can go back and it'll say, like, just see the main plays?
I think it's like FanDuel or something, and they run the drives with really sped up clips, and you see the whole game in like 2 minutes.
Got everything you need.
It's a spoiler.
I tried that for the first time yesterday because we had biked to Camp Bar in Shorewood to just be outside and watch the game, but only saw the first half of it. And then so when we went back, I wanted to just catch up on some key plays, but it was very odd. It was like too fast. It was strange. I didn't like it.
It's halting.
Not going to do it again. Yeah. It was a little jarring.
Definitely. But a quick absorption.
Yes,
nonetheless.
Absolutely.
I wanted to bring up the domes. Back in the news here last week. So the Finance Committee for the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors last week approved a budget amendment that moves ahead this Domes Reimagined plan. I'll be honest with you, Tim. A couple of years ago, I thought this was dead in the water. I thought they're going to be knocked down. I didn't see a future for success for the domes. Credit the people who have put a lot of work and time and energy and effort into this. What does this mean? What happens next year? And can we envision now the domes thriving in the future versus being knocked down and turned into green space?
Yeah, I would say to be determined. This is a path that's very similar to what was followed by the Milwaukee Museum, right? Taxpayer funded, on Milwaukee County's back. They decide because they can't support it, and maybe they'll get more private sector support. So they slowly start to move the Milwaukee Public Museum off of the county rolls, raise private financing for it, create a new space for the museum, and knock on wood, it looks like that's going to be successful. The dome's a similar problem. Nobody wants to, there aren't the resources at the county to put money in. So I think what they're talking about is over the next 5 or 6 years, this is like a send-off payment. We'll give you $30 million, get you on your way, and if you can raise the difference privately, maybe come up with a historic tax credit designation, that the domes can make a go of it on their own. Now, that's a big if, assuming they can raise the funding to do that. But what it does is start to put these community icons in the hands of private funding in a good way, charitable contributions to see if they can stand on their own and maybe grow, because they're certainly not doing it. Again, I'm not talking down about the county, but they certainly are doing it with the county.
So, and this is going to hurt for some people to hear, but do the domes matter in 2024?
Well, it's a really good question, and I think the answer will be, do they matter to enough charitable contributors to give the domes the resources they need to kind of improve themselves, maybe drive some additional earned revenue? And again, this is not dissimilar to what's going on in the parks. I credit to Chris Abley when he was county executive for turning the parks into more people utilizing the parks, because they put up, the beer sales and other things that got people to utilize the parks more. And so I think it's a model we have to move into and just not assume taxpayers are going to fund everything.
You want to get to one of those parks? Perhaps a stop on the Hop will take you to one of those. I actually don't know if the Hop runs by any parks, but nonetheless, can't be too far off.
Cathedral Square Park.
The future of the Hop, right? It's a free thing right now, and that's how it was marketed really since its onset. Yes, people would like it to go to more places. The tracks, of course, running through downtown Milwaukee, but it's starting to run out of funding. Does the business model need to change for its prosperity long term?
Well, it's a really good question. The original model for the Hop was that this was the starter set, right? You open this box up, this is the starter set, and then it's going to expand to reach more places in the city to gain more riders, and you could charge those riders and possibly offset the operating expenses. But where we are right now is that the starter set hasn't expanded. It's expensive to expand it. Potawatomi stepped up and wrote a check, in a sense, to advertise on the Hop and give riders free access. Then we had COVID money coming in to cover the roughly $4.5 to $5 million operating expenses. That's running out. So the question that came up in the council last week is, as a part of the new city budget, is the council proposing finding more revenue through parking tickets and through parking taxes to fund the Hop? And is that a good idea? Because they seem to fear that if you charge for the Hop, you won't have riders.
Well, and that is my big question, because, and I live downtown, I use the Hop, but it's not that it's packed. Now, sometimes it has been, especially around the festivals. But as an example, this weekend I saw it go by, and there were few people on it at that moment. Are people going to pay? If you don't have enough riders on it right now, and I also believe that it has to go to more places for it to be successful. That's a no-brainer. But until that happens, are people actually going to pay to ride it?
Well, I'm going to turn the question around to you, since you're a rider. Would you pay $100 a year, $250 a year for a pass?
Not the way it is now.
Not the way it is now. How much would you pay for a pass now?
I don't know. That's a good question. Ding, ding. I'm not sure. I would pay something. But the fact of the matter is, I can also walk to a number of places, and it depends on the weather, but I enjoy using it. I would pay something. The question is how much.
Right. And I think that's the challenge. And again, I'm not trying to knock the Hop. I'm just saying the challenge is either the city's got to decide they're going to come up with $5 million in their budget to operate the Hop, or they're going to have to figure out a model that works with the patrons, the riders, where they're going to pay something to offset those costs.
But can you really be mad, though, if they up the cost of a parking ticket? I mean, at the end of the day, if you're getting a parking ticket, you shouldn't be parked in that spot. So can we really be mad about that?
The parking tickets going up?
Yeah.
Well, if the justification for the parking ticket is to go up to find money for people to ride the hop, I got a problem with that. I mean, if it's enforcement because they're blocking a parking spot that a business wants to see turn over, I have no problem with that. But I just want to be honest about what's happening.
I'd be fine with pothole removal first.
Exactly.
Just, kind of maybe put it there. I saw a pothole last year with a diving board attached to it. We talked to Peter Fagan last week about the idea of a WNBA team coming in. And the Bucks have submitted a bid. We've talked with others, but we've not talked to you about this, Tim. Just the idea that Milwaukee could support another professional anything in the world of sports, the idea of soccer, now women's basketball. It's a process, I understand. Is there an appetite for this?
It's a really good question. And all the research we've done, when we're selling Milwaukee as a place to live or to move a business, we are in the top 5, and I think it used to be 3, but somewhere between 3 and 5 in per capita access to Major League sports. So if you think about Milwaukee, you've got the Bucks, you've got the Brewers, and you've got access to Packer games. So there are few cities in the country, few metro regions in the country that have, on a per capita basis, the kind of access to professional sports that we do. The question is, can you add another one? The average attendance last year in the WNBA was like 9,800.
And going up.
And it was up 48% from the year before. So 9,800 people coming on average to a game, I'm not sure what causes what you need to make the business model work. But, could the city support one? The Bucks are really smart. They know what they're doing. It looks like, but at some point, you have to have growth in the region and able to support more, because that's a dollar that somebody spends at a WNBA game that they're not going to spend somewhere else at a concert or doing something else in Milwaukee.
But if we flip the switch on that, if they're coming, if you have a WNBA team here and they're playing at Pfizer Forum, which Peter told us that would definitely be the plan, could those people spend more money in the Deer District on different days when there aren't Bucks games and really energize the Deer District at a time when we don't normally see it?
Yeah, and so I guess the point I'm making is if you look at Metro Milwaukee, it's about 1.6 million in total population. It's not growing, or it's growing very slightly. And each time you add another concert, you add another WNBA team, you add a soccer team, which we're talking about outdoors, unless the population grows, you're taking from that individual a larger, an additional share of what they have to spend on those resources. And the question is, do we still have room there? I think we do, but that's the question. We got to grow in order to support more of these leisure time activities.
Yeah, competitive for the entertainment dollar, no doubt about it. 1226 on WTMJ. Always good to check in with Tim Sheehy, Senior Advisor to the MMAC. Appreciate it, Tim.
Thanks,
Thank
Tim.
you.
Thank you.
There's a clear choice for U.S. Senate. Career politician Tammy Baldwin wasted trillions of dollars and created crushing inflation. Baldwin opened our borders and gave taxpayer benefits to illegal immigrants. And she voted to put men in girls' sports. Businessman Eric Hovde will stop inflation, secure our border, and defend our Wisconsin values.
I'm Eric Hovde, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message. Join my team and give today.
Visit WisconsinVictoryJFC.com to give today. Paid for by Wisconsin Victory Committee.
At my company, we're always looking for people who are passionate and ready to work, but it's not always easy. It's time to broaden our horizons. In Wisconsin, about 600,000 people with disabilities are ready and able to work. People that just need you to believe in them and say yes.
And once you say yes, Thinkability Wisconsin will be there, providing transition and workforce support to help shape a better future for all. It all starts when you say yes. Join the movement at thinkabilitywi.org.
Had a devastating knee injury, tore my ACL, tore my PCL, shredded my medial meniscus, and had an initial surgery. That really didn't hold. Had another follow-up surgery around 8 years later. That didn't work, and I didn't want to undergo another surgical procedure.
Enough with the surgeries. They didn't ease the pain, and recovery was brutal. Carmen heard about another treatment for pain relief, the non-invasive regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
I simply figured, heck, I'm going to pick up the phone and call QC Kinetics, and since I've been treated, my quality of life has dramatically gotten better, and I can't thank QC Kinetics Kinetics enough.
These are the nation's leaders in regenerative medicine. QC Kinetics uses the body's own healing components to help provide relief and functionality.
10 months ago, I had difficulty walking up and down a flight of steps. Now I can do just about anything I desire. I'm back to the old me.
If you have joint pain, before you consider surgery, call QC Kinetics. The consultation is free.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
I know some of our best weather happens in the fall, but I also know what comes next. Homeowners, this is your time to break out the checklist and prepare for some of Wisconsin's harshest weather in the winter. Here are some hot points to check so you are prepared for this upcoming winter season. Make sure your gutters and downspouts are free and clear of debris. This is a must-do before winter. Pick a nice day and clean everything out so water can flow through. This will help reduce the amount of ice that can build up after a snowstorm. From the ground, check if your roof and chimney are sealed and ready. Please don't go onto the roof for a couple reasons. Safety is number one. If you don't normally walk on roofs or on sloped surfaces, then staying off the roof will assure your safety. Excessive walking on your roof could damage the shingles, so you want to leave it to a professional if you want somebody up on your roof. Check your attic and make sure the vents are free of debris and air is circulating throughout the attic. A well-ventilated attic will dramatically reduce the chance of moisture issues when the temperatures drop. You wouldn't believe how many homeowners live in cold homes and their windows are unlocked. Check and make sure your windows are locked and seals are intact. Many old windows can be locked and still drafty. Those windows need to be replaced to really save on energy costs and dramatically improve the comfort in your home. By checking your home and making sure it is in tip-top shape makes so much sense. And it is way better to be a proactive homeowner in the fall instead of a reactive homeowner in January.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your home's go-to contractor here. Take your next step and check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more.
It's 12:30. I'm Greg Matzik. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. Your top story, a child killed after a crash on Milwaukee's northwest side.
I'm Jessica Ty. A lawsuit targets a billionaire's giveaway.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Before heading to Michigan today, Vice President Kamala Harris on the tarmac commenting about what happened at Madison Square Garden Sunday at former President Trump's rally.
What he did last night is not a discovery. It is just more of the same and maybe more vivid than usual.
The rally featuring an opening comedian who called Puerto Rico a, quote, island of garbage. Another opening speaker calling Kamala Harris the Antichrist and the devil. Trump to campaign in Georgia today. President Biden cast an early ballot today near his home outside Washington. For all but a few years since 1970, Biden has held office or been running for one during election season. McDonald's says it's putting Quarter Pounders back on the menu after testing and ruling out the beef and pointing to the slivered onions as a source of the E. coli outbreak. Some locations will now serve the burgers without onions. This is ABC News.
Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:31. A 5-year-old is dead after he and his twin were involved in a crash on Milwaukee's northwest side. Jalen Sloan of Milwaukee died early Sunday morning after a head-on crash Friday night near 81st and Hampton. Police believe that both boys may have been sitting in the front seat at the time of the crash. It's unclear if they were restrained. Sloan's 34-year-old father was driving the vehicle at a high rate of speed when he struck a parked car, a tree, and another parked car before being arrested. Police believe alcohol may have been a factor. Jalen's twin brother also taken to the hospital. He is expected to survive.
A well-known bartender in Bayview was seriously hurt after a street race ended in a hit and run. This happened just after 2:30 Saturday morning. Two drivers were racing when 33-year-old Kara Corder was crossing the street near Ellen and Kinnickinnick Avenue. One of them hit her. Both sped off. Corder's boss at Vanguard tells WTMJ, or TMJ4 rather, he saw it all happen.
I'm just glad she's not dead. Because, really, I could have been standing over her dead body in the street that day. Right now, I'm just, clinging on to, any of, the more positive updates, you know?
Neither of the drivers are in custody.
Decision Wisconsin, a day of multiple campaign stops across the Badger State, rolls on this afternoon. Democratic VP nominee Tim Walz kicking off a two-stop day in the state of Wisconsin at the Aluminum Foundry in Manitowoc.
Folks in Wisconsin don't fear the future. You just build the future. We need to give you something to go into that voting booth. Those who haven't already early voted, give you something to vote for, not just against.
Governor Walz en route to Waukesha. Meanwhile, Republican nominee J.D. Vance will hold an event at Wausau Downtown Airport before off to Racine Memorial Hall this evening. Minnesota First Lady Gwen Walz will be in La Crosse with First Lady Dr. Jill Biden for an Educators for Harris Walz event at 6 o'clock.
The Philadelphia District Attorney is suing Elon Musk and his Super PAC. It's over the billionaire's controversial $1 million giveaway to swing state voters who signed his petition in support of the First and Second Amendments. ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
Beyond concerns expressed by experts that Elon Musk's PAC has violated federal law by inducing people to register to vote, this lawsuit from the Philadelphia District Attorney calls the giveaway an illegal lottery in Pennsylvania. The suit cites the PAC's failure to publish a complete set of rules or to show how participants' personal information is being protected. The DA also suggests in his suit that the drawings aren't random because, quote, multiple winners that have been selected are individuals who have shown up at Trump rallies in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, this is a big one. The DA suing Elon Musk and his Super PAC. A man from Eau Claire was awarded one of the $1 million checks last Thursday.
Wisconsin expected to be nearly 20,000 nurses short by 2040.
The biggest shortage is nurses at the bedside in hospitals.
Bree Laughlin is CEO and founder of Nurse Disrupted, a Madison-based virtual nursing service. Unlike telehealth services, this care is a nurse working from home while the patient is in the hospital. Laughlin says it helps patients get home faster and helps alleviate the workload imbalance imposed on nurses, even in the 25% of U.S. hospitals in rural communities.
We've created a plug-and-play system that works anywhere, even at 25-bed hospitals when they have, really limited resource and IT team.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Sports, traffic, and weather next. Saudi Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:34.
Oh, man, it's getting so expensive to dine out, but not at the Mine Shaft restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. There is free pizza today at the Mine Shaft. Every Monday, when you buy one pizza, you get a second pizza free. Buy 2 pizzas, get 2 free. Buy 5, get 5. You buy 100 pizzas, you get 100 pizzas for free. The best Monday dining value anywhere. Business owners and managers, bring in pizza for your loyal employees and clients. Your second pizza is free. Your employees are going to love it. It's great pizza. Coaches, bring in your team for free pizza. Your kids and grandkids can safely play in that huge game room. It's quietly tucked away from the dining area. It's big food. It's big fun. It's the Mine Shaft. Order now for your employees and pick up your hot pizza shortly, or dine in the cool and comfortable Mine Shaft restaurant in beautiful downtown Hartford or near the EAA in Oshkosh. Mondays are tough enough. Don't cook. Buy one pizza today. Get one free. MineShaftRestaurant.com. It's the amazing Mine Shaft.
Hi, I'm Tony Drake. Are you sure you're getting the most out of Social Security benefits? At Drake & Associates, we know that maximizing your Social Security is critical for a secure retirement. With the right strategy, you can potentially increase your lifetime benefits and secure a better future. But navigating the rules and timing can be complex. Don't leave your benefits to chance. Text SS to 414-409-9982 today to schedule a complimentary consultation and receive a free retirement ready toolkit. That's SS to 414-409-9982. Drake & Associates. Plan smart, retire happy.
Drake & Associates is an independent investment advisory firm that offers different investment vehicles. All insurance products are backed by the issuing insurance company. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. Jordan Love further tests on his groin today. The NFL Network reporting that he avoided a major injury during yesterday's game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. A win for the Packers, their 4th straight. Packers take on the Lions Sunday at Lambeau. Love's status for that game is in question. And it's night 2 of a back-to-back for the Bucks. They are in Boston to take on the defending champion Celtics. Milwaukee has dropped consecutive games to the Bulls and Nets. Coverage of tonight's game gets underway at 6 o'clock.
Let's get you an update on the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic. We've been doing well out on our streets, out on the freeway system so far on this Monday afternoon. Just a couple of disabled vehicles. The new one we have is Highway 100 South at Auer Avenue. Left lane is blocked due to a car that's broken down there.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
While you're navigating the roads as quickly and safely as possible, if you see something we should know about, call the WTMJ Hall Volkswagen Traffic Tip Line.
414-238-9329.
Mild temperatures today, a high of 66 degrees. Some clouds going to roll in later on. Chance of rain tonight and a low of 58. So very mild this evening as well. Tomorrow we warm up to 80 degrees. It'll be partly cloudy. It'll be breezy. It will be warm. Could be a record-setting day. High of 77 on Wednesday. It's 59, call it 60 degrees and partly sunny in Milwaukee at 12:38. A major event for Donald Trump last night at Madison Square Garden. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris remains on the trail, and plenty of state visits from the tickets here this week, including today. We welcome in TMJ4 Chief Political Reporter Charles Benson, who is going to be off on the move here today. So hey, there's so many coming to town here, Charles.
Oh, yeah.
Where will you be stationed today?
So today we'll end up with Senator J.D. Vance, who will be in Racine. And you're right. You need a scorecard just to get through the week here. You can tell we're down to the final full week of campaigning. Tim Walz is in the state. I believe he's in Manitowoc, and then also Waukesha. J.D. Vance, I think, is doing Wausau, and then Racine. You've got Vice President Harris here on Wednesday at the UW campus. Former President Donald Trump up in Green Bay on Wednesday, and then he's back on Friday. Have I got them all in yet?
You did.
I'm not sure.
And you hit them right.
Actually, I also think, what's going to be interesting tomorrow, I believe, Tulsi Gabbard and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. over in Madison. So not only are you got the main candidates coming in, the surrogates will also be here as well.
So, Charles, you've been doing this for years. What is the most interesting to you as we are now sitting just 8 days away from Election Day?
So, my son was trying to ask me about this, too, to try to get some insight on what's going on. There's just that normal feel of being in a battleground state and just sort of that rush to, get out the vote, get people to vote. I tend to look at numbers on early voting versus yard signs to try to see what's going on. One of the things I do watch is how do they close? What's the closing argument? Does it change anything from where they have been before in this campaign? Look, I think I said it last week. This year has been an extremely long election season. We are now in playoff mode, right? We're down to these final days. And every one of these campaigns trying to find that last-minute voter. Are there really any undecided voters? When you look at early voting so far to up until today, according to the Wisconsin Election Commission, 858,000 people have already voted in Wisconsin. Now, that's compared to about 1.9 million people who voted early in 2020. Hard to make a comparison of apples to apples because 2020, we were in a pandemic. So a lot of people chose early voting as their option. But one trend that has been interesting to me, and I don't know what it means yet until we see the results on Election Day, but a number of other people vote by in-person, right? So they go down to their voting place, fill out that ballot, and put it in an absentee envelope. And at this point, we're up to about 412,000 in-person votes. That's out of the already 858,000 who have voted. So you can't add the two. I just wanted to make that clarification. What I've noticed, if you look at the three biggest counties, Milwaukee, Dane, Waukesha, Milwaukee has the most early votes, Dane has the most early votes, and Waukesha is at number 3. But when you start looking at in-person, Waukesha moves to number 2 as the most in-person votes in the state, ahead of Madison. So it could simply be by choice. More people in Waukesha County like to vote in person than in the mail-in or the other option of mailing in that ballot. So that's just an observation. I'm keeping an eye on it to see what it might mean come November 5th.
When do you think Wisconsin will get called? Knowing that we have all of those absentee ballots to count and knowing what we've seen in the past and how close this race is.
Right. So that's a good point to make because counting absentee ballots takes longer. They have to open up the envelope. They have to do some more of the processing and the paperwork. Where on Election Day, when you fill out that ballot, you put it in the machine and it counts it at that point. We have some places like Milwaukee that does central count. So all absentee ballots, the ones that are mailed in, the ones that are put in drop boxes, and the ones where people go in person before Election Day to vote, all of those ballots go down to one location known as central count. Now in 2020, that was 170,000 votes. I think the last number I saw out of the city of Milwaukee was around 50,000. So depending on where that number is, and that's where it's going to take time to count all of those absentee votes. I think I've heard some numbers or some indication that maybe not before midnight, but the closer we are to a 50-50 state, that's where it's going to be really hard to make that sort of projection until all the votes are in.
TMJ4 Chief Political Reporter Charles Benson joining us. Let's pay attention to strategy behind where a candidate goes, whether it's the top of the ticket, whether it's vice president, whether it's anybody else, and then also if there's any late opportunity to pounce. So, today after the rally at Madison Square Garden, the Trump campaign is saying, well, hang on a second here now. Not everything that was said last night is stuff we believe in. Going after the Latino vote was a comedian standing on stage who had disparaging remarks about Latinos and Puerto Rico. Is there an opportunity that Harris sees now to maybe dive into that? She seems to be doing better in this space than Biden, but how much damage control is needed at this stage of the game when something goes a little off?
Well, you hit it right on the head there because that rally changed the narrative of what the rally was maybe going to be about in terms of Donald Trump and why he wants to be president. But now everybody's talking what a comedian said, the outrageous things said by a comedian. Even people on Donald Trump's team were trying to immediately separate themselves. That's not the belief of Donald Trump or the campaign. And then Vice President Harris' team putting out those statements saying, look at what was said at this rally about American citizens who live in Puerto Rico. So it's still a narrative of what people are talking about today. In your closing argument, you want to be talking about those final points of where you stand and what you want voters to see about where you're going to take the country in the next 4 years, not to try to do spin control or try to do damage control of what something was said in that final closing argument. So you bring up a good point. Vice President Harris heard her today before she left to go to Battleground, Michigan, speaking out about what she called that hateful, vile, that rally yesterday in New York City. And then Trump's team trying to say that's not his views, that's not where the campaign stands. I saw an interview with former Governor Scott Walker on CNN. He called it dumb on what happened there. So even Republicans are calling out what happened there. But that's been the messaging now about what happened in New York City just 9 days before the election.
Something else that's been somewhat unique, it feels like, for this race in 2024 is the celebrity involved. There seems to be so much. And actually, if you just take a look at this week, you've got Kamala Harris in Madison coming up on Wednesday. Mumford & Sons will be there with her. Then you've got Trump campaigning in Green Bay on Wednesday. Legendary Packers quarterback Brett Favre is going to be there. Do you think that matters?
It's always interesting. It may get people to pay more attention or curious about why that's happening. I go back and I included this in a story that I had last week because now Barack Obama plays that role. The former president is the star on the campaign trail. The former First Lady, Michelle Obama, as well. But you mentioned, bringing in Brett Favre. Each side sort of brings in their celebrities. Tomorrow you're going to have Tulsi Gabbard and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in Madison for Donald Trump. But I go back to 2004 when John Kerry was running for president, in the closing days leading up to the election, he held a rally in Madison on a beautiful fall October day, late October. He generated an estimated 80,000 people at that outdoor rally to get out the vote. Why do you think that happened?
Who was there? I'm trying to remember back. I do remember interviewing John Kerry in La Crosse when he was running, but
he had the boss.
Yeah,
the boss.
Remember, he was at parties on Mifflin Street drinking beers out of kegs. It was insane.
Right. So it's become a part of American politics, to sort of bring out the bigger names. So this time around, we're seeing the same thing.
Well, we bring out the biggest names when it comes to covering this election. That's why we have Charles Benson, chief political reporter for TMJ4. Do you pack a lunch? Like, what do you do on a day like today? Is there catering? Do you get coffee?
Cliff Bars and fruit.
Yeah.
In the car.
There you get right.
on the way there.
Mobile. They should at least send you down in the Storm Chaser. Like, just have a fun, comfortable, just unobscured sort of ride.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Appreciate it, Charles. We'll check it again next week. Thanks,
you. Charles.
Yep, bye.
12:49 on WTMJ. Charles Benson covering all the stops here in the state of Wisconsin as we hurtle toward Election Day.
When you work at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, you'll be helping us help others. There are many that need our help, and we need your help to carry out our mission. St. Vincent de Paul is always looking for part-time team members. You'll get competitive pay, benefits, and flexibility in scheduling. So apply online at svdpmilw.org or stop by Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, or 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. If you're looking for a technology upgrade at your house, you got to check in with Flanners Home Entertainment. The best in the business. I still have a TV that I bought from Flanners in 2005. That's right. It's like an old Sony DLP. The thing is a behemoth. The early stages of 1080. Oh, the day I brought that thing home. I didn't know what to buy when I went looking. I remember that. The folks at Flanners helped me out. It's a special place. It's a great place. It's locally owned Flanners. The installation teams are fantastic. They can help you with just a simple purchase like a TV, maybe a speaker system, maybe a new receiver for that upgraded sound. Sonos speakers also available at Flanners. Or they can do the big stuff here. Whole house wiring, really dialing in your system with the upgrades in technology for a better movie night or better game day experience at your house. It's Flanners. I stepped into a Flanners for the first time back in the late 80s, and they still bring it every day. They've got a great showroom in West Allis. They've got one in Grafton. You can also visit Flanners.com. It's Flanners Home Entertainment. Sound advice at the best price. Just press play.
I'm Brett Matschke, and you're due for service.
Rich Lawns.
Okay, close your mouth and take a deep breath in through your nose. So the way it's supposed to be is that you should be able to breathe easily. You shouldn't feel constrained. What it should feel like is air briskly flowing freely through both nasal passages, day and night. And if not, there's a problem. And it's a don't know what your problem really was until you got it fixed kind of problem. You're living with it. I mean, you're tired a lot. It might give you headaches and sinus pressure, but you're living with it. Yeah, you sound like almost every patient we help until we get their problem fixed. And then you hear them saying, why would I put up with that? Advent will get you breathing freely again with simple in-office solutions like turbinate reduction along with balloon sinuplasty that really can change your life.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
It's bird bashing season when you swoop into Potawatomi. Thursdays, you could win up to a wicked 50 grand cash in the Bird Bash Game Show. Just play with your rewards card all October for entries. All Bird Bash entries go towards a December 20th giveaway with a monstrous 300 grand in prizes. Bird Bash makes its bewitching return. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Learn more at paysbig.com/birdbash. Must be 21 years old to play.
Debbie Lazaga here for Kohler Services. If you need a bath or shower remodel, turn to Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. This month only, get 0 interest financing for 12 months and a free shower door with your Luxtone shower remodel. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote, with fast professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
66 your high today. Clouds are going to roll in. Might see some rain later tonight. A low of 58, however. Not much of a drop-off. Tomorrow, we warm up to 80 degrees. It's going to be windy and warm. Wednesday, a high of 77. 61 and mostly cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:53. Wrapping up the program here, Wisconsin's Midday News. Got tickets to give away. Are you big into comedy? Do you like comedy?
Oh, I think comedy's fun. The last comedy show I saw was in Vegas.
Okay.
And actually, my dad was centered. He was plucked out, put on stage, put into a boy band of sorts.
Oh, goodness. Was he hypnotized?
My dad's not a spring chicken, either. So it was so funny. Honestly, I'll tell you what, it was so much fun. And people actually remembered him. 2 different people stopped us on the street and said, Mike from Milwaukee. Actually, it was one person in the street and then one person at the airport going home. They were like, wait, you're Mike from Milwaukee, right?
That is fantastic. Yeah, be careful, right? The closer you sit to the stage, the more you could become a part of the show. Well, if you'd like to be part of this show, it's Sebastian Maniscalco. He is actually quite funny. He is coming to Pfizer Forum on November 6th, part of the It Ain't Right tour. All these comedy tours have interesting names. You can get tickets through Live Nation or through the Pfizer Forum website or on Wisconsin's Midday News. So here we go. We've got an opportunity to win a couple of tickets here. One lucky winner each day this week will receive 2 tickets to see Sebastian Maniscalco at Pfizer Forum on November 6th. We've got 2 tickets to give away to caller number 3. Caller number 3, Gina, you like that? That's a good number. She wanted to make sure I didn't go to caller number 60. Yes, you'll get 2 tickets. But I don't know where the seats are, but yes, you could be part of the show in more ways than one if you're there sitting close.
And you talked about that, but we weren't sitting in the first row. I don't think we were sitting in the second row either. So
how did they find you?
You never know. I don't know. He was just, it was very audience involved.
Yeah.
Actually, the guy's coming he'll be in Brookfield too at Milwaukee Comedy, I think coming up in January, February. My dad's like, you want to go again? I was like, I don't know. I don't want to be pinned out in our hometown. It was one thing to be pinned out in Vegas. But
sure. And just watch the YouTube special.
Yeah. No. Oh, yeah. I was looking for a while on social media to see if any clips would pop up, and I haven't looked lately. There weren't right away, but that's a good reminder. I need to do that.
It's only happened to me once. I was brought on stage at a David Copperfield show when I was in 4th grade. We were sitting maybe 10 rows back.
Did you have to pull the bunny out of the hat, or what happened?
No, I remember I was sitting on a box, and he used to bring a duck on stage with him occasionally. Like a duck was involved in his act on occasion.
I saw him once in Milwaukee, but that was it.
And I remember doing all these different hand gestures, and all of a sudden the box I was sitting on started moving, and there was a stagehand.
Wait, you were sitting on the box?
Yes. There was
started moving.
A stagehand that was moving the box. I could see him off to the side. But when I stood up and they lifted the box, sure enough, the duck was underneath it. So it made it seem like the duck was moving in the box that I was sitting on, and a good time was had by all.
Friday's game, I know we mentioned this during our show on Friday, but they had a magician at halftime. It was this guy who's got a Guinness World Record for